Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex. This is the Ramble, and we go until midnight tonight on the East Coast of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, sitting out there in Las Vegas, no place to go, no place to work, and this week, in sync, I think, is Stephen. Wake up!
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
Good to be on your show, Howard. I mean,
By the way, folks, what we just did was improv.
That was improv. Thank you.
Yeah.
We need the name of a singer, we need the name of a food, and way too much stage time. Thank you.
Yeah, but what we did last week, we discussed this about, the worst kind of comedy, and I said it was improv.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's and I say this with great respect to all the people I know who do improv. What you do sucks. Okay?
Hey, stop doing it. Get jobs.
Yeah.
Be a welder.
Stand-up is the hardest thing in the world to do. There's a reason why. And it's interesting. Would you say that as a person you have a low self-image?
I used to, not anymore. I think I'm a golden god now.
Okay, but people who go into comedy have low self-esteem.
Sure.
Okay.
So they do it. They have to be accepted by strangers.
Yeah. To be accepted by strangers.
Yeah.
Yet they've gone into a business in which you go on a stage by yourself. You tell jokes, which nobody which you might not get any laughs with. Okay, and if you're dying 1,000 deaths by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
Standing on stage with daggers looking at you.
Sure.
All right? That takes guts.
Yeah, beats working.
It doesn't take guts to do comedy with 5 other people.
Exactly. That's not stand-up.
Because if nobody's laughing, you got each other to console yourselves.
Exactly.
You have them as protection. Or after the show is over, you got somebody else to blame.
Exactly. It's 5 people. Form a band, okay? Learn some instruments.
So my feeling was as a stand-up comic, you're standing up there dying alone.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's
Sure.
it.
Nothing like killing alone and nothing like dying alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Best and the worst. Best and the worst feeling in the world.
And I that's why I never did comedy. I finally got up on stage and hosted these shows and did 10 minutes, and I've learned to have 10 minutes, 15 minutes of material at one point, and it worked. But it worked in San Francisco because that was my audience. Those were my fans. So they knew me. So I was pre-sold. So it didn't matter that I had to, work to bring them into my world or, So, but if I had to go to Sacramento and do the same thing, I would go.
Oh yeah.
I can't do it.
They gotta know you, baby.
Here's the thing I never understood. Okay, well, I understand to a certain extent. We did the Frost Amphitheater. You remember that show? We did Frost Amphitheater. Were you on that bill at all?
I don't know. I did a lot. So we did. Keystone.
Yeah, Keystone.
We did a bunch of.
Yeah, but the Frost Amphitheater was 9,000 people on a brutally hot day, I might add. But 9,000 people all sitting on a lawn watching comedy. I go out and hi everybody, and I go off, and then I started to think about it, and I went, I just stood up on a stage and looked out at 9,000 people, and in no way did it frighten me. Now,
you hadn't paid for this.
Switch to another place, another time. Holy City Zoo. Place maybe on a good day held 5 people. Okay, really. The first row literally can put their feet on the stage.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I went on that stage and it scared the shit out of me.
Wow.
And there were maybe 10 people in the audience.
Yeah, double pack crowd.
And I went, how can I go out in front of 9,000 people and not be scared, and then be scared by 10 people?
I don't get that. That's
no. I think the reasoning was those 10 people could all jump on stage and throw me off.
They wouldn't.
The 9,000 people are just this. They were like a mural.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Very, very weird sensation. Yeah. So I always had, people say, well, you have the comics on. Do you like them? I said, I appreciate the hell out of them. Mm-hmm. I said, because they do this thing that is so fraught with failure. And they go out there, and what they're doing every night is trying not to fail. Am I right?
Yep. Trying not to go down in flames. That's what we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to do.
And how do you feel if you've gone down in flames? I'm sure you have, because you do.
Sure, everybody has. Who hasn't? In the old days, it's a devastating feeling. Now I don't give a shit. Well, I'll get them tomorrow. But in the old days, yeah. You go up there and you bomb, and
you go home. You go home depressed. You go home depressed, right?
Yeah. You go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I always said that what I love about comics is it's the hardest job in the world. It's just excruciatingly difficult.
Yep. Well, maybe the beginning. Later on, you keep doing it, that you kill more than you not kill. So.
And to people who wonder what I'm saying, you always see the end product. You see Stephen Pearl doing his act. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Right? But you don't see Stephen Pearl preparing for this, going through what am I going to do for material? And then you don't see him fail. When he fails, that's a horrible, horrible feeling. I mean, I'm sure as you spent years on stage, you learned ways of minimizing that failure.
Sure. Your kill ratio goes up, your dying ratio goes down, but still it happens. Nobody's immune to it. I saw Robin do something that got no response. He needs work. So I've seen.
I had certain reservations about Robin because I felt that a lot of what he did was what I call word salad, and it wasn't really funny, but he did a better job of playing a comedian on stage than being one. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of.
People would laugh because they figure, I got to laugh here. He must be funny because I don't understand what the fuck he's doing.
But if you go to the Throckmorton Theater where he performed all the time and they were used to seeing him, they still loved him, but they were used to seeing him. He would do something that wouldn't get a laugh. He'd go, it needs work. It would happen. It still happened. It's happened to him. It happened to everybody. So,
I think that was good for him. That keeps you. And the fact that he went to the Throckmorton Theater, which doesn't seat a lot of people, right?
Yeah, sure.
It gives me more respect for him.
Yeah, he just like to go on.
Because he went to the dangerous place to work out. The dangerous place was not the Johnny Carson show. No. It was not some big theater where people would pay. If people pay $50 a ticket to get in, they're going to laugh harder than if they pay $5.
Certainly, they're going to force it if they have to.
Yeah, because they want to get their money's worth.
Yeah, that was a great show. I don't remember what he did, but
what comedians do you like watching?
Comedians do I like watching?
Yeah.
Oh, I liked watching Robin. I liked Pryor. I love Dangerfield. He was my favorite one-liner guy ever. I like watching Bruce Baum. I like watching. Now I'm running thin. I like a lot of people.
One that always comes up whenever I ask that question is Bill Hicks.
Carlin, I loved Carlin big time too.
The name that comes up a lot when I mention him, when I ask this question, Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was great. I was in a movie with him. Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen many years ago.
Oh, really?
Yep. You can get it on Amazon for like a nickel. I'm in it. Bill Hicks is in it. Monty Hoffman, the rapist thief, is in it.
Yeah. Why do we call him the rapist? Did he ever get arrested for rape?
I heard he did it, and then the girl didn't press charges, and he was home free. It was the old days.
I think with Monty Hoffman, I think if Monty Hoffman raped somebody, they wouldn't press charges because they didn't want anybody to know they fucked him.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
He was horrendous, but
he's
who else?
dead now. We can say anything we want
That's
to about
right.
him.
Oh, I told him this to his face.
And he
before
was a major asshole.
he was the biggest asshole I ever met in my life, and I've met some creeps.
And yet we all hung out with him, right?
Ever, yeah.
And yet you hung out with him, right?
I had no choice. Somehow he like bullied his way into the comedy scene in San Francisco. Then he went to LA and he got good management, and they put him on TV, which showed me like, okay, I'm not the crazy one here.
Oh no, good management will get you business, will get you work. I saw him on some major network TV show and went, how the fuck did Monty Hoffman get on national TV? I guess it's time for me to hang up my comedy shoes.
Frog-faced manager Rick Messina behind him. So Messina.
Rick Messina?
Messina, yes.
Now, Messina handled who?
He handled Hoffman. He handled Tim Allen. He handled Drew Carey. He handled Janine Garofalo and Monty Hoffman. Oh, I think I need a rapist.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
Like Steve Martin, Robin Williams, Robert Klein, George Carlin, Monty Hoffman. Yeah, this doesn't make sense.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing. He just somehow tricked his way into.
Well, he died. You know.
Thank God.
And his legend will go down in history. Now,
he was the man Will Rogers never met. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way. Gandhi would have kicked him in the balls, but I gotta tell you, who else was in that movie? Who became? Chris Rock was in the Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen before he was anybody, and Tim Allen was in it before
Comedy's Dirty Dozen. And it's on Amazon.
Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen. You can buy it. Yeah, I'm sure you can buy it.
Well, I'm not gonna buy it.
Okay, I'll send you one. I got a warehouse full of them.
Yeah.
That whole composed pills.
Well, I think maybe it may be for free on Amazon Prime now.
Yeah, it's probably on for nothing.
Well, yeah. People who watch this show, can watch you in that, and they can watch Bubbles in that thing they did with Bubbles and Johnny Steele and Will Durst.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Durst used to be on the show too. So 2 out of 3 people in that film are here, have been here, and so far as Kravitz is concerned, he's just been in a lot of movies.
Yeah, it's been in movies.
You can see him get killed by Clint Eastwood in a Dirty Harry film, and he was in Howard the Duck. He was in Lady in Red, but then he got cut out of the film, so he's not in it.
Yeah, he got cut out of Peggy Sue Got Married, but I think they paid him anyway. So
was he in Peggy Sue Got Married?
No, he snip, but he had a part in it. But
they continue to pay. Yeah. Lady in Red, he's actually in the credits.
Oh, really?
And he said anytime it plays, which is not often, he gets a check on it.
Oh, that's good. Good for him.
Yeah. But I mean, so it's nice to see you guys worked.
We were at one time, so still waiting for it to come back again.
Yeah.
Governor Sleazy Hack, open this state, tear down that wall.
It's going to be a little while here. It's not going to be as fast as it was. It could have been faster, but
1,200 then.
But people got stupid.
Yeah.
And your state has been affected only because you're living near states that are infected, It's what's going to happen is once they open up the comedy clubs again, it's going to be a different thing.
Of course, it's going to be different, man. Like masks at 6 feet away, it's going to suck.
Well, if you know what happens, here's what happens: we get a vaccine, and that will get us back to normal. They can open up comedy clubs. I hear they're opening up movie theaters now, trying to.
Let's do something, but. You got to make a vaccine that works, They're under pressure.
AMC is opening up their movie theaters in Europe. And Regal Theaters is trying to open up theaters everywhere except in states that won't let them open up, like New York. So, they're trying to open up, but, to what purpose?
I don't know. People want to be with people again. People want to work again. People want to, they can't. How long can they stay in their houses and do nothing?
I know, but let's be serious about it. If we do this for about a month or two, I know that sounds like a long time, we can eradicate it, because the only way you eradicate it, the best protection
just
is not letting it spread. And you can stop the spread by wearing the mask, washing your hands, being what's the word I used earlier?
Citizen.
Yeah. And being a obsessive compulsive.
There you go.
Basically, that's what I became. 'Cause I used to tell people I used to go out a little bit, and then I'd come home, wash my hands for 20 seconds, and then I go take a shower, and then I'd autoclave myself.
Oh God.
Anyway, we've run
lather,
out.
rinse, repeat, lather again, rinse again.
We've run out of time with the
Again, no, the time. With the time
very talented Stephen Pearl,
Thank you very much.
who stayed in sync all the time this time. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Stephen. Stephen Pearl, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a big round of applause, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just wanted you to get the feeling again so you'll miss it a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Oh, yeah, Stephen Pearl. Love having Stephen on. He's on with us about once a week. So, what the hell? And I'm starting to work some other people into our mix as well. But anyway, oh boy, I don't know. I got to go to the dentist tomorrow. I do not love going to the dentist. Not because not for the normal reasons. I don't know. The dentist I've got is very good, but maybe too good. I'm trying to get this mic so that there we go. So it tightens up. There we go. Okay. Hey, see that? Anyway, it's silly. Anyway, so I got to go to the dentist tomorrow, and I don't know why I'm so up and about this whole going to the dentist tomorrow. I think it has a lot to do with the fact. Let me wipe my eyes because they're tearing today because we got big pollen deposits. I just, it's like I went through the whole cancer thing, and it didn't bother me. I just said, okay, I'll do what it is what it is, and I'll get it taken care of, and hopefully on the other side I will live a nice, long life, right? But going to the dentist, I go, oh, God, maybe she's going to have to do a root canal. Maybe it's going to cost me money. So. Well, I don't have the same kind of insurance for dental that you have for medical, I mean, all the cancer stuff that I did, which cost about was billed at $110,000. I think I paid $2,000 total. I think. I would have to go back and look. Okay. But anyway, that's the newest thing. Let me see here. We're open, but nobody seems to be calling me, so I'm just going to keep talking until I'll bore you with all my health problems. See, I got pollen count today. Eyes have been tearing all day, and I'm trying to survive it. Anyway, we are okay. Okay, we have one person at least. Certainly, the not the one that we, people go, oh, him, okay, yeah. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Don't need that. See, I do all this wrong. I'm losing it, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, sitting out there in Las Vegas,
that's
no place we
to
don't
go,
want
no
that
place to
either.
work.
And we want this, okay? Hey, there we go. Now, what is with me tonight? Jeez, I am terrible. Hold on a second. I got somebody for you. Here comes Robert Natali. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah.
You got electricity back?
Yeah, actually, there are people in my rough area, maybe within 10 miles, that won't get it back until mid next week.
Wow. I figured, we were all contemplating that you had died, but I came to the realization that you probably just didn't have electricity because of the storm.
No, that was
well,
it.
I'll tell you who also didn't have electricity because of the storm and still doesn't, is my friend Shecky.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. He doesn't, and I wrote him back and I said, look, if things are really terrible over there in Queens, you're always welcome to drive over here because he's got a car and come stay with us, and you can charge your iPad and do all of that and do all the things you need to do. And he wrote me back and said, I can't get out of the garage.
He doesn't have a manual.
I'm sure he does, but I think he was saying that to be humorous. I mean,
so I'm a little out of touch. Did they ever find that Lindbergh kid?
yeah, they did. Unfortunately, he was dead. He was dead.
Geez, that's too bad.
They think they know who did it though. So it's
good.
Although there's some question to that these days.
Oh yes, there is. One of my favorite topics, actually. I love reading about that case. It's an interesting case.
It was a strange case.
Yeah.
In which they, to this day now, they're beginning to believe that the guy who was, what was his name? I'm trying to remember his name.
Hauptmann. Bruno Richard Hauptmann.
That he didn't do it.
Yeah.
That he was.
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
That he was. Boy, I can't come up with words anymore. What is wrong with me today?
I think he was part of a group that tried to extort money from the Lindbergh family. I've read just about everything I can get my hands on in the case. In fact, we live about 5 miles from the home where the kidnapping took place.
Mm-hmm. Well, now here's a good question. Since you've read about it,
yeah,
who was the head of the police, the state troopers?
Schwarzkopf's father.
That's right.
Or grandfather, one or the other.
No, father.
Father.
Schwarzkopf's father. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who knows? Who knows what the true story is of what went on with the Lindbergh kidnapping? But I never liked the kids, so you know.
Yeah, me neither. He never said anything good about you.
You're a real brat.
Did you guys see that thing on HBO about the plot to was based on the Philip Roth book called The Plot to Take Over America?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was about the Lindbergh thing, you know.
That was Lindbergh was involved in that. They didn't go into the kidnapping, I don't think, on it, but Lindbergh is like really hot on Hitler and is close to Hitler, and he becomes president of the United States. Yeah, it's an alternate universe.
It was pretty good. I liked it.
Excuse me, folks, if I'm dabbing my eyes here and stuff, but it's really bad today for some reason. Tomorrow, the pollen is supposed to be negligible because it's supposed to rain, you know. But anyway, I always that was quite a case. I mean, but you know, he was a big Hitler guy.
Yes.
Hey, what do you mean it's supposed to rain? You know, the whole eastern seaboard has got a storm. You didn't get any rain?
No, we didn't get any rain today, but tomorrow it's supposed to rain.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think it's a tropical storm. It's just supposed to rain.
Please no.
Huh?
Please no.
Yeah, well, you know, we had this last week, and you know what I don't believe? Okay, so it was windy. Okay, I don't know how it was out near you. It was windy, and there was some rain, a lot of rain. I mean, torrential rain coming down. But nothing more than you get every now and then. But this thing really, I mean, Jeff hasn't been able to call because he doesn't have power. Shecky doesn't have power over in Queens. It's been since day before yesterday.
How about Tony?
Tony's probably the same, I would imagine. Hey, Tony, you got your electricity back yet?
Well, you know, I think he's still sending text messages, you know, but he hadn't mentioned anything.
But you see, you can do that if you've got like a phone.
Yeah,
you don't have to use your Wi-Fi. You can just use your cell service to send texts.
You don't think that he would have said something?
But your phone runs out of power at a certain point.
Well, I mean, that was the problem with Shecky. He wanted to come to New York City to come here to charge his phone and his iPad. You know, and he's always, here comes Tony. Okay, let's see here. We'll find out. We'll get our answer. Tony, hello there.
I never lost it.
You never lost power.
You want to laugh at something, Alex?
What?
Polish guy down the block, and this is not meant to be a Polish joke. This guy's not that bright. The whole tree fell down near his house. He's out there, like if he comes out with the chainsaw and he's breaking the branches. He's under the fucking tree that's dangling. My brother's like, is this stupid?
It's dangling from wires?
Like half of it, like a quarter of the tree fell down. So he comes out. It's a reason to get the hacksaw or the the chainsaw, and he's sitting there breaking them up and putting them in a bag for the sanitation. But Alex, the tree that's right over him, that the branches fell down, he's standing on the fucking thing. I mean, my brother in the window, I says, "Is he stupid? Walter, you're dumb. I mean, get away from the fucking tree, we yell."
Yeah.
I don't know how, but half the block going up to Grand Avenue lost all their TV.
Wow. Well, here's Shecky always likes to brag to me. I'm getting through this COVID virus quarantine just fine because I got all these movies to watch. I've got this whole supply of movies. I just sit here and watch my movies over and over. Whatever. Try that right now.
I know. I lose my mind with no computer.
The only thing is that he is a voracious reader, so he's probably got books. It's just a little problem. Come nighttime, you need a light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you do for food? You gotta make sure your phone's charged because I be ordering takeout.
Has the takeout cooked the food if they're out of electricity too?
Well, you got to hope that the area. Well, it's certain blocks I notice around by me they clear out. Like half my block was the cable. I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
our takeout places have generators, so.
And I think there was a problem. That's why last night I had a low count of people watching the show, and then after the show was over, it was an amazingly high count of people who watched it last night. I mean, larger than we ever have. And I think what happened was this was some of the people who didn't have electricity or had it intermittently, who then got the program, then it kind of seized up on them, so they signed back in, and that's why I got those high counts, but the low counts while the show was on. I mean, now we're doing just fine tonight, so I guess people are getting back their power. Yes, Howard.
How are you?
Oh, I thought you had your hand up here.
No, I was just giving you the thumbs up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Alex, you didn't get the electricity.
What?
I think Con Ed's going to have to give them power soon, because how long can they go without it?
Well, Con Ed doesn't care.
This sucks.
Yeah.
Hey, is Indian Point still running?
What the hell?
I don't think so. That's the nuclear power plant. I don't think it is anymore, and it's Native American.
When I was a kid, we had a boat and we docked in Montrose, and it's right next to Indian Point. I think that's in Verplank.
Native American Point.
Yeah, and I jump off the boat into the river, and the water was warm, and there was a whole bunch of dead fish. Because I guess that's where where the water would come back into the river.
Well, now we know where your prostate cancer came from.
Yeah, really.
I'm real fucking polluted.
I know. I didn't put two and two together for a long time.
I'm just getting tired of being tired all the time. I don't know.
I get that at night, but then I get energy at. You know what I noticed? I could sleep during the day when I'm off. Like me and my mom are upstairs, but at night I could stay up all night now watching TV like a vampire.
Well, this kind of gives me energy, but the only problem is when my eyes are burning, that makes you feel real tired.
I stay up all night. When I get off the show with you guys, I'm up to like 3 in the morning watching.
I'm sick and tired of this COVID virus. I'm thinking of going out. Marjorie took a subway today.
She went?
She took a subway.
I haven't taken it yet. Next time I visit, she
said
I want it, okay?
It's really clean. People are sit 6 feet away from each other. Everybody's got masks on. She said it looked pretty safe. And then I looked at the statistics here in New York. We're back down under 1% of the. I think it's 0.9% of all the people tested came out positive, and we only had 3 deaths.
Wow.
Yesterday.
I feel safe. I feel like we have a little country.
I mean, it's almost like we're doing a great job of it, and then our mayor is trying to keep everybody from coming into New York. Anybody comes into New York through the tunnels, they get a little piece of paper that says,
"Where
go
are your
quarantine
papers?
No papers.
Go quarantine yourself."
I like the idea though.
Well,
I mean, I know they're going to try to make them think a little.
Oh, I think they should have been doing this years ago. The worst thing about New York City are the tourists, for crying out loud.
We hated the tourists, remember?
Huh?
You hated when what they did to 42nd Street. Remember, it is bad down there.
Well, 42nd Street, they turned it in from being sex. I liked it when it was sex shops. Okay, it was filthy, it was dirty, and they had sex shops. But all the evils of America were on display on 42nd Street, and there was something about it. Am I right or am I wrong, Robert? But there was something about it that was interesting.
Outdoor mall.
Yeah, and then fucking Giuliani comes along and decides he's going to create a situation that he's going to create a situation where he's going to clean it up. So he cleans it up, and it's clean. Oh, hey, it's Adrian Neary. We don't even have to deal with Brian tonight. How you doing, Adrian?
And she's got her name on her square.
Yeah, she's got her name. See, folks, see, it says Adrian Neary.
Yep. So what Cuomo is saying that...
You want to talk about Blackpink?
What?
Oh, yeah.
Strawberry?
What is that?
The strawberry.
Strawberry.
Oh, really?
Strawberry.
You know,
Looks like a
California,
frozen
we got
strawberry.
big strawberries.
Wait, do you have some for me?
Don't give him any. He doesn't deserve it. He's a socialist.
Watermelon.
It's watermelon is what it is.
Jolly Ranchers.
Boy,
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. I'm jealous.
Hey, if you go back to New York, Cuomo will take you to dinner and buy you a drink.
What?
That's what he said today. He says, hey, you know, you're sitting at that house in the Hamptons. You went to Connecticut. You're in Greenwich. Come on back to New York. Because what's happening is the people that pay taxes are leaving New York in droves. And so the tax base is dropping. And so Cuomo said, well, you know, come on back to New York. You know, I'll buy you a drink. I'll make you dinner. Come on.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did say
That's
that.
funny. That's
Was it
funny.
tongue in cheek though? Or no?
Cheap.
I mean,
Well, who would have thought an actual leader with a sense of humor?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we watch him for the we
there's
watch
some
him
concept.
we watch him for the laughs, and then we watch Trump for the laughs. Different kind of laughs.
he went off today.
What?
Trump went off today. I heard my sister said he was saying how Biden's gonna betray God or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
like he knows from God.
The man who holds the Bible upside down.
Yeah. This is your God-fearing man.
And he said Thailand. We're going to Thailand.
Thailand.
Yes, and then he corrected himself a couple words after, but he said Thailand and Vietnam.
Well, that's right next to Yosemite.
Like Beavis and
I can't
Butthead.
get over that. I watched the clip on that over and over. I laughed. Well,
He's from Queens. If you've
he talks
heard,
like me,
if
but I'm
you've
not
heard
impressed.
Tony talk, you know, it's just a little more refined accent. That's all.
What about that he wants the kickback for the TikTok deal? That's his video.
Yeah, he wants a kickback for the TikTok deal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got to play to pay. Pay to play.
Something
Making
like
it
that.
happen.
I don't believe this guy.
Well, I mean, we can get to him eventually or now. I don't care. He's going to come up anyway tonight, right?
Does he? Here's my question.
Wait, yes, first Tony and then John. Yes.
And I don't want to sound like a sexist or anything like that, but the only thing that scares me, if he does pick a female, is it going to go over like a lead balloon?
Why?
I don't think the country's ready for it.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I
Sure.
don't
Hey,
know,
look, Tony.
But I think Middle America might.
Tony,
I think it's you.
yeah, it's you.
not
Because
me.
because look at other countries in the world. I mean, they've had female leaders for years. You know, so it's about time for us. I mean, we're just talking about vice president anyway. You know.
Let's face it, women run most homes. Why not let them run the White House?
Exactly. So I mean,
Hey, Phil.
yeah.
Phil,
Yeah,
are you a NRA member?
yeah,
Are you?
yeah. I bought a lifetime membership that you. I pay $100 a year, and in 15 years, I will get the card that says lifetime membership.
Hey,
Oh, really? And after you spend that much money, how many trips is Wayne LaPierre going to take to Tahiti?
Well, you gotta support the things you believe in. That's all.
Well, but you're not supporting the thing you believed in because it turns out now they were crooks. They were stealing money.
Well, Wayne LaPierre got a wardrobe and a bunch of other stuff and expensive stuff.
Nice
They
suits.
65 million bucks off of them.
Yeah,
65 million bucks, man.
Well, maybe my $100 a year, I get one of those suits.
A tie.
Bill,
I think you
let's
bought a
start.
tie.
When the NRA is abolished, let's start another gun rights.
Look, I have nothing against the NRA buying Wayne LaPierre suits to wear in public and for speeches and things like that. Just like if you were on Broadway, they would give you costumes to wear. That I understand. But taking trips to foreign countries at a cost of, what was it, how many millions of dollars in trips?
65 million.
Really?
Did you see that yacht, that fucking yacht they had? It was unbelievable.
Who was the guy that played Moses that was there?
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston. See, he died and the place goes to pot.
Yep.
But, the
Well,
NRA does a lot of good stuff. Plus, I get the magazine 4 times a year.
Hey,
I have a cough now.
I read that right after I read Field and Stream, actually.
Not Boy's Life.
No, I gave that one up about 5 years
Hold on
ago.
a second. I got to find my cough drops.
you give it to your dentist.
Yeah, that and highlights.
Well, I
actually.
don't have my
That's
cough.
it. Highlights,
Who
not
stole
Boy's.
my cough drops?
Not High
Boy's
Times.
Life was Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Son
Yeah.
of a bitch. Oh, well.
Hey,
I give
Phil,
up.
how you
know.
feeling?
I'm
Did she
feeling better
take
today.
what?
Yeah.
Good.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling a lot better today. Although I had a bear claw. I bought bear claws from this really good bakery for everybody at the store, and my sugar was all out of whack today. So that's the last time I do that, I hope.
Yeah, maybe just eat half of one or a quarter of one.
It's hard.
I don't want to cough on here.
Howard,
So-
you know that famous donut place in Maui? It's like
Krispy Kremes?
No. It's not a chain. It's like
Oh,
just like
Malasadas.
Yeah. I went to that place when I was in Maui. So
Awesome.
I don't know why I went. I think I read something about it on the internet. I said, "Oh, we got to go check it out." It was good. Good donuts.
Oh, okay. All right.
It gets the GapNet seal of approval.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, by the way, it turns out now the governor of Ohio, DeWine, tested positive for COVID, and then just a couple hours ago they gave him another test, and he tested not positive. For
Negative,
COVID.
right?
So my question is, which one counts?
Yeah, which is the phony test?
You probably have to do one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them Brian's test.
2 out of 3.
Flip a coin.
Because there are false positives, right, Brian? This is not uncommon.
Not with his stuff.
Abbott, is it Abbott's 15-minute? They had like 40% false positives or false negatives.
Wow.
Oh, and he was
Yeah.
probably taking the quick one, huh?
But everybody wants 15 minutes. It's stupid. So,
Holy shit.
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Well, then
that's almost worthless.
Well, why would they do it then? Because, I mean, you get it, and then all of a sudden you panic. Oh, my God, I've got COVID. And then you take it again, and you get it back in 15 minutes. And they go, oh, I don't have COVID. And now they go, well, which one's right?
Unless it goes to a lab and then you get it back 16 days later.
Well,
That's worse.
that doesn't have to happen. Because, like here in New York, what the governor did was he got local labs to do the work, so that it didn't have to go out of state to be processed and so on and so forth.
Yeah, when I went to get my colonoscopy in NYU, they took it on Monday and they put it right into the hospital. They do it themselves.
Where did they stick it up your ass?
When I went up to North,
Huh?
I had the nose up.
I know. I'm kidding because you had the
Your nose with a rubber hose.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
Yes.
You know how I told you the numbers were up in Hawaii? The other day it was 250 in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, 100 and some odd.
Yeah.
Now we're all on lockdown. No inter-island starting the 11th. No more inter-island.
Why do they wait?
Yeah.
Well,
why do they wait? They always do that.
They shut it down,
starting-
and they just recently opened it up. And then what happens is people are coming from the mainland and they're getting all over Oahu. But if somebody from Oahu was to come to Maui, we'd get a spread. So now they're not letting the people from Oahu to come to Maui, Kauai, Big Island.
After the weekend. Let everybody do whatever they want the
Yeah,
weekend.
well,
Then we'll cut it
Right.
off.
Well, the reason why is I think it takes time for them to communicate to the airlines and start canceling airlines and maybe put together the program to track everybody again. So what was happening is people were supposed to be in a 14-day quarantine, and the deal is you have to quarantine or leave. People figured out a loophole. They went inter-island, and then all of a sudden, no more quarantine.
Oh.
So that's why they're shutting down the inter-island.
Mm-hmm.
People were finding a workaround.
Well, we were talking the other day about islands being significant in that things can get stuck on them. So that if you get, like, for instance, they've always quarantined dogs when they come over because you get rabies, and then it can just spread on an island because it's got nowhere to go, right? I think that's part of the problem we had here in Manhattan. I mean, New York City was especially hit by this, but we're an island, and so it had nowhere to spread, So,
Close to the Bronx.
yeah, but we're really happy with the way it's turned out. We may actually wind up opening our schools because the governor has said that if the percentages stay as low as they are of the infection rate, which is now at 0.9, it usually sometimes goes to like 1.2, but it pretty well fluctuates around 1. He says if it's that low, by the time they want to open the schools, they might take a chance on opening the schools. And what I think they should do is let the parent make the decision. Do they want to take classes at home or do they want to send their kids to school?
But even that's fraught with its own problems. Listen, I worked in a school district where the population was poor. It was actually a town I grew up in where we were lower middle class when I grew up, and it got progressively poorer because it's close to ports of entry. It's not far. It's cheaper alternative to New York City.
Right.
In any case, I worked in this school district, and there's no earthly way they can consider opening schools for a myriad of reasons in towns such as that. Mm-hmm. First of all, they don't have the physical plants that would allow for the kind of social distancing that they're calling for. You'd be shocked at the number of kids who don't have internet access as it is.
Right.
In fact, 2 of the buildings that I worked in out of, I guess, 11 buildings didn't even have gymnasiums. So the idea of where they had 30 kids to a class in many cases, of suddenly being able to magically create this social distancing it's just a pipe dream.
Hey, Robert.
Yes, sure.
What would happen if they had like an AM group and a PM group or an afternoon?
Bill, they've actually done that in the past for reasons of overcrowding. In fact, my wife attended the rival high school that I went to, and they went AM and PM sessions of sorts. In fact, at one point, I was in charge of scheduling the 2 high schools in my community. And so the AM and PM is already in place for reasons of overcrowding. And it's not as if the community can suddenly come up with money. I mean, there's talk about leasing other buildings, warehouse space, this sort of thing. Those things are just not, it's not capable of getting done.
Yeah, we went for school clothes shopping already.
There you go. You did well.
Yeah, she fit in it just fine. She has a little room to grow on the top too.
Yeah.
Yeah. my question is, I mean, part of the problem that you've got with schools opening up is kids, their socialization is, it does not include social distancing. And how you tell a kid, say, Adrian's age, hey,
Right.
social
That's
distance.
a tough sell.
Yeah, my God.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Especially that age, those girls are hugging and kissing and running around together.
Now,
and,
if you are, say, in New York State, where the infection rate is under 1%, or 1% of all the people that take the test come out positive, you've got a fairly good chance that the kids aren't going to get it, you know. But all it takes is one kid, you know, and then you've
Robert,
infected the whole class.
You worked in a school system that was probably challenged.
Yes.
Is there any truth to the thing that if the kids continue to stay home, the ones that are getting abused, that's not getting reported, the kids aren't getting hot meals, and sometimes they say, and I don't know, but they say that the only hot meal they get is the one they get in school.
Phil, yes, yes, and yes. Everything you've said is true in my experience. 80+% of the kids in the school district I worked in receive free lunch because they fall under the national guidelines for being in the free lunch program. It's all part of the Department of Agriculture, actually. It's one of the ways in which the Department of Agriculture has used surplus foods that farmers produce that, you know, if it goes to market, it lowers prices. I don't want to get into the economics, but I'm sure you understand. So yes, that's true. I worry terribly because I know many of my dear friends were child study team members, social workers, child psychologists, that sort of thing. And they know that, I mean, listen, I'll tell you one quick anecdote and it sort of answers your question. I was teaching history to 8th graders. And one day, as I'm talking about Benjamin Franklin or some goddamn guy or other from the, you know, founding fathers, I'm looking down at the kid sitting in front of me. And what's clear is he has cigarette burns all up and down his arm. And Phil, it damn near broke my heart to the point of tears because I thought to myself, he's not really learning what I'm saying. He's here because with me, he's safe. You know, this is a haven for him. So you're absolutely right. The cases of child abuse, especially since a lot of fathers and mothers are unemployed and they're up against it financially, they take out their frustrations on, you know, whatever. They're maybe not as generous with their affection as you and I might be, you know. So, yeah, I worry like hell about that. So it's an unanswerable situation, I think.
This is not coming from a political bent, but does that those programs outweigh keeping the kids out of the schools?
It's anybody's guess, but the point I'm making is that while you're right, the physical plant difficulty makes it such that for the life of me, having scheduled that stuff for years, for the life of me, I don't know. And mind you, this is one community, and New Jersey is fairly affluent as a state. This is one community. I could reel off the name of probably 15 such communities in New Jersey alone. And we're not talking about, you know, Appalachia. We're not talking about the boondocks here. We're talking about a relatively affluent state per capita. But there are still, you know, pockets of inner city situations where, for the life of me, I don't know what and how they're going to do things.
Well, you know, we have several problems we have to deal with here. To begin with, first of all, while kids are in school, a parent, especially a single parent, goes to work, and the school kind of takes care of the kid for them while they're at work. Okay.
Yes.
Now, because of this, there's a double problem. Number one, they can't go to school, but secondly, the parent can't go to work.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, in many cases, a lot of these students, it's the only place they get a decent meal all day.
Yeah.
You know, so we have all kinds of problems to solve.
Oh, sure. I was part of a negotiating team for my school district, part of the we call it a union, but it really isn't legally a union. It can't be in New Jersey. It's an association. And I was part of a negotiating team at one point, and we made the following point. We asked the city officials, how much do you pay for a babysitter? Now, mind you, this is 20 plus years ago, and they answered $10 an hour. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, okay, let's do the math. $10 an hour, I see 25 kids an hour for 7 hours a day. We did the math, and being paid as a babysitter, the average teacher could be paid $384,000 a year. And babysitters eat your food in your refrigerator. They're on the phone with their boyfriend. You know, we're charged and we're monitored to actually get something across to these kids. So, you know, please.
Yeah, but my question is, why can't we maybe come up with some programs that will take care of this problem? For instance, maybe we can find some older people who would be willing to be babysitters for these kids during the days while the parents go back to work.
Older people are the ones that are most vulnerable.
They're most vulnerable.
Well, they're the most vulnerable, but I'm saying that, well, I don't know. Okay, younger people, I don't know. Somebody start a program where people go in and take care of these kids who aren't going to school, but the parents would like to go back to work so that they can put food on the table.
I thought about that. You know, if you had, let's say you got 5 parents and you got 5 days a week they're working. One day a week, each parent takes the other kids and they rotate it. And this way, you could at least work 4 days a week. And
that's being done.
Yeah,
many communities are doing like little pods.
That's a good idea.
10 parents, exactly as you point out.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, so since the lockdown and everything, so we have 4. Adrian's 4, 12, and 14. So during this time, I've been leaving, and I get off work about they're up for maybe 3 hours, and I'm home usually most of the time. But now, so Wednesday, I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They start school. All 3 of them start virtual school on Wednesday. So the 2 older ones are fine. They have their schedules, they have their codes and everything. So I'll be here for that. But also, Adrian's going to have the pre-kindergarten. She's already advanced. They told her that they should be bumping her to kindergarten, but they can't because of her age. But she already learns how to spell. She's very, very advanced for her age. So I'm going to be here those 3 days to see how she's going to log on. At least she's only with one teacher. But after those days, I have to make sure the kids are actually logging her on. And I'm not going to be there to pay much attention unless I can get off work, or maybe I'm going to shift my hours. Or maybe I will be working from home a lot more than I was before.
Now, what's being done for kids who don't have computers?
So they had technology. So when we got materials, they had a survey about a month ago for technology, and they asked detailed questions if you had Wi-Fi and if you had computer and all that stuff. So on that day, they actually gave out laptops, and I read somewhere they're talking about hotspots. They didn't say like the buses like you guys are talking about, but they said some other kind of module or something for hotspots. So at least in this area, but this area is, different than like the area Robert's talking about.
Because as I saw something on CBS Sunday Morning last week in which they did a thing about internet service, and that still something like 40% of the country doesn't have internet service.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an amazing amount. What do we do about those people? What do we do in those areas?
Yeah, this goes back to what you said a while ago, Alex. I don't remember you saying it, but I think you did. You're saying how the infrastructure for the cities, the major cities, they should really have free internet all over.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about cities. We're talking about, and believe it or not, we say, well, the coronavirus is probably not affecting rural communities, but it's starting to.
Yeah, well,
a lot in California, it's the rural communities, the farm workers that are the highest coronavirus infected.
And those are some of the areas that don't have internet service. So how do we then get the kids to school?
Second of all, I've taught every range from, well, at one point I even taught as a sub just to jump in an emergency. I taught kindergartners, but for the most part, I was secondary, 7th grade through through senior in high school. Okay, so at one point in my life, I was teaching honors seniors. I could have done honors seniors by giving them research projects to do and basically just served as a mentor. And these kids were highly motivated. They were all college bound, in some cases, Ivy League college bound. And so all they really needed was me as a mentor, somebody they could bounce ideas off and I could steer them in certain directions. When you're talking about like 7th grade, let's say, simple English, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. It's difficult to correct written work, let's say, without actually being in the kid's presence. And it's different. It's very different.
Yeah.
What do you do
when
when
the first graders and forget about it?
What do you do when
I don't see any value.
Robert, what do you do when the kid doesn't English is a second language?
That makes it all the more difficult. And frankly, in the town I worked with, that was a good portion of the population. And so that's just another, you're pointing out something else. It's just another layer of complexity.
Oddly enough, we would say, oh yeah, we can do online learning, and that's a very easy, nice answer. But pulling it off in every situation is not necessarily possible,
But we all learn online. I learn 90% of the stuff I learn on YouTube.
So do I.
Well, no. Yeah. But I'm saying that we're talking about learning in school. What are they doing out in Wisconsin, Patrick, about schools opening up? Are they opening them up, or is it still a big?
It's up in the air from a standpoint of the governor is floating the idea, but not really floating the idea of keeping schools closed all the way through, what would it be? Like Christmas break.
Okay.
And hoping that there will be online learning. Well, the problem is, you've got a number of the private schools, parochial schools, and a number of the suburban public schools where the parents have access to computers and the internet and things like that. So it's not really an issue there. Where it's an issue is in the inner city, where you've got parents that same issues that we're discussing here, that somebody's got to go to work and they don't have internet access, and it's because maybe they can't afford it, or even if they have it, they don't have computers, or they've got computers and they're outdated. And one of the things that I'm kind of struggling with in my head is the Milwaukee public school system, and that's just for the county. They've had a number of referendums that have passed for building improvement, things like that. I'm wondering why they don't reallocate some of that money rather than updating whatever gym floor they need to this year, but buy computers for the kids, a Chromebook or whatever, something cheap. They don't need to be top of the line, but something so that all of the kids in all of the schools in the Milwaukee public school system have the same damn thing. And,
I'll tell you something right now. I know from experience here, Zoom doesn't take that much bandwidth. It's really very economic where bandwidth is concerned. Am I wrong about this? Anybody else not had that same experience?
No, it's true.
And so I think that when you talk about Chromebooks, which are bottom of the barrel, I mean, they're a pad with a keyboard. We're talking about something that's very possible, and you're able to do the learning. But then the next step is you need the Wi-Fi, or you need some kind of phone system that can take it, you know? So, wait a minute. Howard has his hand up. What?
Time to bring back those AOL CDs and mail them to people.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, Phil.
I remember that they were closing schools because the population, there was a lot of school buildings. I don't remember how long ago it was. Maybe it was a while, but schools didn't have enough kids, and they were closing many of the facilities. I don't know what happened to these facilities, but why couldn't they reopen them?
I think that's region by region. Honestly, I used to be in charge of counting the numbers for 20 years in our community, and I would compare them to other communities in our state. And there wasn't a community in our state that over the past 20 years has had a decrease of any note.
Yeah, it was San Francisco.
It might be region by region.
Yeah, it was San Francisco that was having.
Patrick has his hand up, and then Tony. Yes, Patrick.
And getting back to what I was saying about reallocating funds for the computers, as far as the internet issues, there are, and I understand that this would change things up a little bit, but this pandemic had changed everything anyway.
Yeah.
So what I would say to those in charge of the Milwaukee Public Schools would be buy the Chromebook, and for the kids that do not have internet access, there are enough neighborhood schools where you could have, let's say, 2 or 3 teachers, and I know there wouldn't be hundreds of kids in those schools. It would be, tens of dozens maybe, and there would be internet access for those, and for the ones that could stay home, they can stay home. And
I've got an idea. Let me float this by, because this is a major problem we have here. It's probably the singularly most vexing problem we have, because everything else we can solve. Just stay home, things like that. But this is your kids going to school, learning, and so on. How do we get computers in the hands of these kids? And then how do we get them service? Here's my plan. I think it's time that American companies started paying back some of the lucre that they have gotten off the American public.
There's an idea for Bill Gates.
I think Apple and Microsoft with their
and Amazon.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me please, Phil. Let me lay this plan out first. That we have now you threw me off. These companies like Apple should suddenly say, okay, look at what I'm going to do. We're gonna supply kids with iPads. It may not be the current iPads. They may be refurbs. They may be whatever, but we're gonna pay back now, and get these things in the hands of kids. Then, so far as service is concerned, make sure these are iPads with phone access, and let the phone companies start giving free service to the students so they can study.
Didn't Apple donate Apple to schools originally?
We were that school.
Yeah, well, they did that. They did that to get kids hooked on Apple. Is what it really was.
What's the difference?
Well, the difference is now they've made that profit and they don't want to give it back.
We partnered. My superior, who was also a dear friend, he reached out to Apple back in the mid '80s when Apple wasn't Apple, if you follow. Where they were being laughed at as toys. Well, they decided to pick our community among several across the nation, not many. And what they did was they didn't give kids computers. What they set up in kids' homes were dumb terminals. So in other words, like in many places of business, you don't really have a computer on which you can surf the web, let's say. What you have is a dumb terminal, which in effect is a monitor being fed from some other source. It doesn't require internet access at that point. It requires a phone line of some kind. It requires maybe a VPN of some kind. This was being done in our community back in the late 80s. And I wonder if maybe there's a way that they can kind of reinstitute that.
Here's the thing.
All of that.
What I'm thinking of is that these should be computers that can go online, literally use a phone line, use the phone system. Okay.
What about cellular?
Well, I'm talking about cellular. That they attach onto a cellular system, and then we tell all these phone companies in the United States, hey, you know, to begin with, you are a public utility that's at our behest. You have to start giving out free service to students who need to do online studying. They can't use the iPad. They can't use it for something else like playing games or whatever. But you know, everybody, then every kid could be hooked up, because cellular is pretty much in more places than it's not in this country now. You know, there are not as many dead spots as there used to be.
This iPad is connected to cellular. It's got a keyboard that, you know.
So what's the point you're making?
What do you mean? What's my point?
I'm saying we know that
an iPad can do it.
An iPad can do it. Also, Chromebooks can do it, and I think they're capable of wireless, cellular, and what's the other company? Samsung has them. You know, come on, step up to the plate. Do something for this country. We are now in a bad situation.
That takes time. That's going to take an enormous. Don't underestimate the amount of time that's going to take. When we did it back in '86, I mean, there were times I would have to teach parents how to turn on a dumb terminal, and all it was pressing one goddamn button. I had people trying to learn to use a mouse who literally, I'm not teasing these people, would put the mouse up the wall because they couldn't figure out how to maneuver it. You would be shocked at the lack of computer savvy that's out there.
But you would be surprised, Robert, at the amount of computer savvy on the kids who are going to use it.
Oh, absolutely. They would probably be your greatest ally in teaching.
I don't know Adrian's capabilities, but Adrian knows how to run a computer, doesn't she?
We had to take it. She started surfing butt or something like that on these pictures. We had to put the YouTube restraints to kids.
There are a lot of parents who don't know how to use it and would have that problem. But there are kids today who just go, "Okay, I know how to do that." You know.
What if they did something with the lottery?
All we have to do. This is very simple. How do we get service to the kids and an iPad to the kids so they can do at home schooling? That's
so our area is, but the other areas that really do need it. That's the hard part. But what if they hooked up the lottery, and maybe some of those winnings or some of the money going into the lotto would actually go to schools? That'd be awesome.
Howard, what did you say? You had your hand up? You wanted to say something? Howard?
Howard. Muted.
Robert?
You're muted, Howard.
You're muted, Howard.
No, he's not muted.
Hello, Howard.
No, you're fine.
No, he's not.
You're muted.
No, I'm not. But you know what? I lost my idea.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
Wasn't the lottery supposed to have money and all this stuff? I mean, Robert,
all I'm saying is it's time for a lot of people. It's time for a lot of these people to come up to the plate who say that they're patriotic Americans and they want to help everybody. This is the one problem we've got that is I think the major problem. Everything else is solvable. I mean, if the Congress will get their act together, but but people being out of work is a big problem, and a way of being able to get these kids their education, especially, I'll tell you, they were talking about in Texas. You're probably familiar with this, Charlie. Down near the border, or down near the Gulf of Mexico, or somewhere down there, there are communities that are basically Mexican, and that they are right now at the highest risk for contagion. Because they live in cramped quarters and so on and so forth. And the hospitals down there are being inundated with cases, more so than in Houston or Dallas or whatever. Those are the areas where I'm sure this is a problem as well. You know, how do we get education to those areas? Or are we going to deprive those kids of education because of their economic status? We can't do that, you know.
And like Phil was saying, the area that we're talking about, like where Kevin lives, around that area, is a lot of the workers, you know, the work in the fields and everything, and they have kids, and that's going to hit them hard. They're trying to get their kids into school learning English.
Am I right, Charlie, about this problem in Texas that they're having right now? Where is it? I can't remember where it was.
They're calling in the refrigerated trucks too.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to contribute myself because, from all accounts, I'm due a $20 windfall about November. So
we'll see about that. We'll see about that.
What I was thinking, Alex,
you mean what we're now starting to refer to as easy money?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Hey, Alex, my idea was basically Congress should just pass something to allow it where they could either allow the parents write off, or, you know, like let the kids get an iPad and just write it off their taxes.
Yeah, but you got to have somebody who pays enough taxes that's worth it. I mean, we're talking here. Yeah. I'm not worried.
Tax rebate?
Believe me, I'm not worried about, you know, Brian's kid. He's got money. I'm not worried about, well, who else here has a kid? Nobody. That's about it.
Kids are grown up.
Your kids are grown up. You know, I'm not worried about those people as much as I am about those kids in like parts of Texas where they're basically farm workers and things like that, and they don't have the money. And we got to get an education to them too. We can't let, because of your economic status. I mean, the idea behind the whole educational system in our country is economic status doesn't determine your education, although in many ways it does. Yes, Phil.
You know, if Apple would take all of those old iPads that can't get Zoom anymore because the operating system is too old and allow the operating system to be updated, those could be donated to kids that need those things.
There isn't if I'm not mistaken, and from what I know, there isn't an iPad that was ever made that can't use Zoom right now.
My Faye's iPad, I was going to give her this one and get another one because I can't update it anymore.
Well, it isn't a matter of
I think it was the original or one after the original.
I don't think it's a matter of updating. You know? No, it's not a matter of updating.
Yeah, but they can still donate.
Because Zoom is a pretty simple, to begin with, most people are not even using Zoom. Okay, they don't put it on their computer. They just go to that, you know, click on that HTTP site. Man, I can't think straight now. And the link, there we go. A simple word, the link. They just click on the link, and Zoom does all the heavy lifting. It's not a computer. It's not an iPad that does it. So I think that no matter what the age of the iPad, it should be able to use Zoom.
She can't download the Zoom.
No, you don't have to download the Zoom, Phil.
Huh.
If you didn't install Zoom at all on your iPad, and you clicked on that link, it would take you to our show.
Huh.
But once again, we're spending a lot of time, and rightfully so, having a great discussion about the physical tools necessary to get this done. What we're leaving out is the component about is teaching electronically for young children, you know, is it viable?
Well,
I'm not convinced, having been around first graders and kindergartners here and again, I'm not convinced that it's effective to teach.
Can you get them to pay attention? Can you get them to pay attention to it? My answer to you would be, and I'm not a parent, and I can't say this with any authority, okay? But somehow I think kids today are so wedded to playing around with those iPads that's actually the most effective way for them to learn, because they're used to looking at it and interacting with it and so on. I think you're going from a standpoint, and I would be too, that, oh, hey, if I were a kid, I wouldn't be interested in spending several hours in front of the iPad. But if the teacher were doing it right and teaching it right, I think it would be possible to do it. Yes, Patrick.
I mean, one of the things you're forgetting is this is a brand new thing for teachers as well.
Yeah.
I mean, even for young teachers,
yeah.
just coming out of college, they weren't taught to teach virtually. So, you know, Alec, you're right in the sense that the kids, they can hop on an iPad, they can hop on a MacBook, and they know what they're doing, and they can this, that, and the other.
I totally agree
but
with you.
It's the ability of a teacher to wrangle cats. And, you know, the thing is, you can have a kid at your attention as long as I'm talking to you, Alec, and I'm ignoring Robert, and I'm ignoring Tony and everybody else. So, Alex, here's what we're going to be doing. But as soon as I move over to Tony, Alec going to be still interested in what's going on? Where in a classroom, and I'm not a teacher, but I have teachers in the family. In a classroom, if you are not physically there and watching kids and being able to say,
okay, so what we've got to do is we've got to encourage these teachers to become inventive, to take this new way of teaching. You're not in a classroom now. You're on an iPad, and you're teaching all your students who you see there through Zoom. And now you have to change the way in which you teach. You have to come up with new inventive ways of doing it, of bending the medium. And those who are not capable of doing that can be given some advice by people who do know how to bend it and how to play to that new medium. It's kind of like, you know, when I started doing the shows here, I had to adapt myself to doing the internet as opposed to doing radio. And I still really haven't. But
difficult thing to do.
But you've got to do it. This is going to be the new paradigm. Yes, Howard.
What about like social skills and relationships and friendships?
Well, that's
how are you going to do that on an iPad?
You're absolutely right. I mean, there are so many facets to education that it's really hard to cover everything.
Okay.
And meals and seeing if they're abused.
Okay,
and getting beat up.
That's a whole.
Or beating up on somebody else.
It's a very important function, Phil, but it's a whole different thing that we got to deal with. The point is, I think that really we've got to figure out that that there's a whole new way that we've got to teach in this virtual classroom as well. But Charlie, do you have any opinion on this? You've been somewhat quiet tonight.
Yeah, we homeschooled our kids for 4 years before we sent them to public school, and but the socialization is a big issue, and that's one of the main reasons that we went ahead and put them in public schools, because they were learning on their own.
Let me ask you though, how sociable are kids today? I mean, kids sit at home playing video games, and if they're playing with someone else, they're doing it online.
It hasn't changed. It really hasn't changed.
Your kids must have friends, right?
Yeah, the girl has all kinds of friends, and the boy has Mohan, who lives right over there. They play games all day. So
yeah.
Okay. So they have their small groups, but the girl's very active, very social.
But they're having their social interaction even though there is a virus going on, because you're pretty safe with these kids, or do you have them wear masks?
They haven't seen their friends. They haven't seen their friends since the lockdown. They actually saw a couple of their friends that walked by one time. That's all. Yeah, we've been pretty much home.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they ever go online with them?
Yeah. They go online with them. The girl all the time, and the boy just to play games with his friends on there. But
I mean, would everyone agree with me that we're in a period of reinvention?
Sure.
Yeah.
And they have I'll tell you one thing, and again, this area compared to the area Robert's talking about are the two ends, probably, and but they send out texts, they send out a phone call, and then they refer those to the email, and the email they've been updating on a weekly basis, and I'm getting them from 3 different kind of schools, because I have all 3, 3 junior high, and elementary school, and they have been very detailed. They have a new system called Canvas. That's another learning thing. They also have the Infinite Campus that we can see all their grades, all their stuff they turn in. Mm-hmm. So this area, they're very, very good on the communication. So I'm very happy with it, and I'm very confident. But yeah, like the areas that Robert's talking about, I have no idea how they're getting along.
Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, we've got. I wouldn't say it's a majority here in Milwaukee, but I would say it's a good, solid minority of parents that they may be either illiterate or, I mean, in the case of me, when I was with my ex and I was working with her kid when they'd bring homework home, shit, math had changed so much when I was in school that I was useless with helping with that. I mean, I would still, history never changed, and I'm a history person, literature, writing, that sort of stuff. But when it got into math, how the hell did I mean,
have they
parents to know this stuff.
Have they changed the way math is being done now? Because I would imagine that you really have to teach a kid how to use a calculator, not how to do it in his mind and do up a row of numbers.
They still have to show their work, though.
Well, no, but what you have with math, what you have to do is to show somebody how to arrive at that conclusion. The process, and if you eliminate the having to do a row of numbers, which I had to do, which I used to shake, and I could, it was terrible. It was terrorizing to me. But if you can teach them how to use a calculator, then to begin with, for $1, you can buy a calculator, for crying out loud.
I threw out my slide rule not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found it in a drawer.
I never got as far as slide rule. Okay. Yes, Robert.
Part of the problem is nobody dares to tell a doctor how to do his business. No one ever dares to tell a lawyer how to do his business. But everybody on earth thinks they could be a teacher. And to be blunt, it's not as easy as people think. It really isn't. A lot of the teaching that most non-teachers do are with captive audiences. You're teaching your son how to play baseball, or you're teaching your nephew how to fish, or whatever. It's different when you have kids who are reluctant to be where they are, and you're trying to get a difficult concept across to them. It's far.
You're also charged with doing something that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives.
Exactly. Exactly.
It is probably, there's more responsibility to that than almost any other profession going. And on top of that, when parents go, oh, well, teachers are just teachers. Well, they raise your kids for you for at least 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day. They're raising your kids.
When I was a senior in high school, the last semester, they had me doing a teacher's aide in a kindergarten. And these kids were like little miniature adults, with full personalities and the whole thing. And they had their own opinion about how things got done. I don't know how you really corral them,
And got one, it's not enough.
Let's be honest, Phil, they were smarter than you were. But no, I mean, I just think being charged with teaching kids is an admirable thing. And we take it so for granted. And, and now they've got an even rougher job. They've got to reinvent how they teach. Okay? And how to keep all those kids who are sitting there looking at an iPad interested. Maybe.
I was going to tell you, my sister, I messaged her, Alex, because she's a school teacher.
Yeah.
And she said that for her school here in Queens, 20% of the parents are keeping their kids home. They allowed the schools, they give you the offer that your kid could be homeschooled, via remotely. And 20% of them are doing it in her school.
Oh, well.
But now the union is pushing back, Alex. The teacher union is trying to say that if one person or two people in a school get COVID, they want to shut the school down for 2 weeks. It's up to Cuomo, I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, I think that, there are going to be a lot of things that have to be solved. I would not want to send my kid back to school in, say, Florida right now. Or Texas. Or California. By the way, Florida just passed, what is it, 500,000?
500,000, yep.
Yep. And what is it in Texas?
It's 470, so we should be there in 3 or 4 days.
Come on, Charlie.
Yeah. Come on, don't let up the slack. God, New York is just losing this whole race. Anyway,
we're over 50,000 ahead of y'all.
This has been a fascinating.
New York, they'll shoot them.
Yeah,
You
fascinating.
test positive, you take them in the river.
That's Phil. Thank you, Phil. We appreciate it. Always leave us with a really positive feeling. Yes.
Another drive-by.
Good to have you back, Robert.
Be back.
We missed you.
Good to see you.
Willie. Oh, boy. John Larkin.
Free Willie.
Yeah. Thank you. Charlie, thank you. Howard, thank you. Tony, gracias. And Adrian Neary, thank you so much for being here tonight. And of course, we always love having Patrick joining us. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and we'll give a big wave goodbye back, okay? There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. By the way, another one we'll be assembling using Skype next with Jack Bishop and The Intersection. In the meantime, I'll be back again tomorrow night. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. We'll be back here at 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And, as usual, if you see her, tell her I love her. And be safe out there and wear a goddamn mask, okay? Bye.